Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and today we are exploring another used LEGO store. I'm currently home in the state of Washington, which means it's time to swing by Bricks and Minifigs in Monroe, Washington. So in case you aren't aware, I have been visiting pretty much every used LEGO store I can find. These are pretty common here in the US, but I have seen quite a few overseas as well, in Europe and in Asia. Essentially, what a used LEGO store is it's some sort of retail store that takes in buy, sell, and trade used and new Lego, so people can bring in their old Lego sets, trade them in, or sell them for money, as well as people can walk in like me looking for used Lego sets to buy. It's almost kind of like Bricklink, except it has a physical retail store. Now, this is very interesting because prices tend to vary drastically depending on what store you go to. Personally, one of my favorite stores is over in Philly, which is where I go to college, because their prices are pretty close to Bricklink. Bricks and Minifigs is a franchise that operates across the US. They have a lot of locations in Oregon, one here in Washington, and a lot across the entire US. But again, it is a franchise, so it really does depend on whoever's running it to see if the prices are good or not. Sometimes the prices are really great, sometimes they're really not so great. And I was very curious to see how the prices would be for the Bricks and Minifigs location here in Monroe, Washington. And today is Black Friday, at least the time I'm recording this video, so there are a lot of sales going on. I can't wait to see what I can find there, so let's go and check it out. Alright, so here we are at the storefront of Bricks and Minifigures in Monroe, Washington. I always love exploring used LEGO stores, so I am so excited to share this one with all of you. So let's start off this video with a very brief tour of sorts, just kind of going through the store and seeing what kinds of things you can find. Obviously, these sets for display and for sale are definitely on a rotating basis because people will come and go, bring in new stuff and take away stuff, so you really don't know what to expect every time you go in. But starting off, you can kind of see just a look around the store itself. Immediately you're greeted with some life-size layouts, you've got a lot of different buildings and all sorts of just different LEGO-related items scattered around the store. From polybags that are fully sorted to a ton of fantastic used and vintage items right behind the store clerk shelves here, there is a lot to see. And of course, there's a lot of minifigures as well. And obviously, since this was for Black Friday, they had quite a lot of sales here, which was really exciting to see. Moving on, of course, you can see that they've got a lot of different items across different LEGO themes. There's some Bionicle, some cities, some elves, just all sorts of different things all gathered together in one location. And you've even got some older stuff like Rock Raiders and whatnot. So just all sorts of different LEGO themes. I really do like how stores like these have a bit of a mix between fully built LEGO sets versus the ones that actually just come in the boxes versus new and sealed. Just all sorts of different things. Again, you never know what to expect, and the prices are not too bad either. They also have some custom base plates, which honestly are pretty cool. These are not official LEGO products, but I just figured they're kind of cool things to have. Obviously not everyone's cup of tea, but personally I think they're kind of fun and cool to have a printed background on a base plate. And of course they have individual pieces as well that they are selling, some of the rarer pieces in particular, as well as the official LEGO base plates. They even have a fully custom Bionicle scale dragon hanging above the ceiling. Super cool to see that custom mock here, as well as just all sorts of different things on display. And we can move into this section of the store here, which is dedicated more towards the modern sets, as well as very extensive tables of bulk pieces. And yes, there is a fully bulk Bionicle bin, and we'll be getting to that. You can see right here that they actually have the pieces somewhat sorted by category for certain parts. They're system parts as well as Bionicles, so really nice to see that, especially if you're like me and really wanted to dig through the Bionicle pieces in particular. Of course, moving on, there are some older sets on these shelves here, but most of these are the boxed modern sets. But of course, there are a lot more treasures to be found, especially as we move deeper and deeper inside the store. What's also really cool is that this particular location does host some birthday events. You can see behind this orange LEGO brick door here, we can go right through and take a look at what's inside the birthday room, which is actually a really cool space for kids to actually play around in. They have a full racetrack, a lot of different decorations. One thing I love is the classic LEGO shields mounted on the side of the wall. Really cool to see those classic castle nods there, as well as, of course, a full racetrack, kind of similar to the ones you'll see at Legoland Discovery Centers. In here, they've got all sorts of fun LEGO displays as well as tables for kids to play, so that definitely is something that makes a lot of sense to have inside a store like this, especially because there's just so many LEGO bricks available in the bulk that it definitely would be a missed opportunity not to host birthday parties here. But then moving on outwards, we can take a look at some of the other treasures inside the main store. And don't worry, because we will be getting to the haul very soon. And you can see here some of the shelves have the used Lego sets, which is the highlight of the store. So let's take a closer look at everything that's available here right now. So in no particular order, just a few things I did want to call out. Obviously you can see some older sets as well as newer sets, all again mixed together. I really do like the inclusion of different store displays here. You can see Tahu Nuva up on that shelf there as well as some of the Bionicle System playsets and some of the oldest and rarest Ultimate Collector Series Star Wars sets. Moving on here, we have some of the older Ninjago stuff, obviously some newest sets, which surprisingly are already 20% off, as well as some older box sets from vintage eras of LEGO Star Wars and whatnot that honestly are really hard to find, especially with the box nowadays. Moving onwards over here, we have some more vintage LEGO sets. I really do love just the eclectic range of different themes scattered throughout the store. But of course, again, as we mentioned, there is the modern set section as well, which you can see right here. And typically the prices for the modern stuff are pretty much about what you would expect to see at LEGO stores, which is really nice, especially if your LEGO stores are out of stock. Of course, there are some hidden gems that are fully sealed here, mixed in between the modern sets. You never know what you're going to find, so I definitely would advise taking a much closer look at all these sets. But with that, I think it's probably time to get to the haul. Alright, so we have returned from Bricks and Minifigs, Monroe, Washington, and of course, just like every single one of these used LEGO store videos, we have a haul, and it's time to take a look at all the different sets I was able to get over this Black Friday shopping spree over at Bricks and Minifigs. So before we get into any of the sets, I do want to note that I got very lucky with the Black Friday sales. Every single one of these box sets was 15% off, which means that I could get some fantastic deals, making some of these sets at or even below Bricklink prices. And especially if you factor in shipping, this was an amazing deal. So I made sure to stock up on pretty much everything I could find there that I didn't own, and I'm excited to share it with all of you. So we will be diving into each of the sets individually, taking a look at all of them built, but to start off, let me just run through each of the sets quickly first. So first off here, we have set number 7467. This is the International Space Station. It was part of a co-promotion LEGO did with the Discovery Channel all the way back around, I believe, 2003 or 2004. Has a lot of really interesting pieces with stickers and prints on them. So overall, just a interesting set to add to my collection and especially display next to some of the other space sets I have hanging from the ceiling. Next up, we have one of the few LEGO Idea sets I did not own already. This is set number 21302. The Big Bang Theory. I actually do own every single LEGO Ideas set except for the first two that came out and this one, but now I thankfully own this one. It was one that I passed up when it originally came out because I wasn't a big fan of the show, but eventually I realized I'm collecting every Ideas set anyway, why not just get them all? So this is LEGO Ideas, the 10th Ideas set they made, and I'm certainly excited to build it and see how it compares to some of the more modern sitcom sets they do nowadays. Moving on, we have set number 21123, the Iron Golem from LEGO Minecraft. This is basically just one of the Minecraft sets I did not own yet. I'm on a quest to actually collect every single LEGO Minecraft set. Previously, I actually only started collecting Minecraft around 2020. I recently went back and tried to bricklink every single Minecraft set that I could possibly get, but after doing so, there were still few that slipped through the cracks, so this one I managed to get because it was at a very good price. And moving on to the two big ones here. This one right here is set number 21016. It is the LEGO Architecture Sungnyemun set. It is a temple or palace in Korea, in Seoul actually. I have actually seen this temple physically the last time I visited Korea, so I think it's really cool to actually be able to own this as a physical LEGO model. Now this is really expensive because this set had a very limited run. In some regions of the world it was actually exclusive to it, so this was a very expensive set. Thankfully on discount though, so I ended up only paying around $150, $160 for it, which is pretty fair Bricklink market value. Then again, for 325 pieces, it really is very expensive for what you get, although you do have to get it because it has the exclusive printed tile with the name of the palace on it, which is what makes it so special. Otherwise, I could have, say, just gotten the pieces from LEGO's own service, Bricks and Pieces, or parted it out on Bricklink. But thankfully, because I needed that printed tile, I did want to get the actual set, and this was a pretty good deal, so I did not want to pass it up. And finally, the last set here, we have the LEGO Creator Expert 10248 Ferrari F40. Let's get rid of the price tag there so you can actually see it in all its glory. This I paid a little bit above Bricklink price for. It was probably around $190 after the discount. Typically on Bricklink it ranges from $160 to $180, but I felt that maybe with shipping, and since it was already right there, this already does also come with all of the pieces certified and checked, I figured it's not that big of an increase over the average Bricklink price, so why not get it? It is one of the few Creator Expert cars I actually do not own. I think after this, I'm only missing one of the Creator Expert style cars, so this was absolutely one that I had to pick up and build on my own. So with that, we've summed up this haul, 5 fantastic sets to make, and let me go build them and showcase them right now. But that's not all, because on top of these 5 special LEGO sets that I got, there was also one very, very special haul I got of LEGO Bionicle pieces. So for only $25, I was able to fill up a Ziploc full of Bionicle pieces, and this is a pretty sizable one. So I was very happy with what I was able to get. There's a lot of really interesting things here and a lot of pieces that are incredibly hard to find on Bricklink. For instance, I found the head to the Maxilos and Spinax set, specifically the Spinax Hound. I got a quantity in 2 of the Hydraxon blades, which are the Pridac blades recolored in silver, an incredibly rare part made even rarer because of the current TTV canonization contest using that part as a spear tip, so that was an amazing piece to get. I got a lot of the Vaki staffs I needed, some of the G2 weaponry, all sorts of fantastic detailed parts in here. I can't wait to open this up and showcase all the pieces for all of you. But first, let's take a look at many of the different system offerings I was able to get from this haul from Bricks and Minifigs. So first of all here, this is the LEGO Ideas Big Bang Theory set. This was one of the first sitcom-styled LEGO sets they ever did. Unfortunately, didn't really sell too well, so LEGO kind of was put off from making sitcom sets originally, but then they slowly realized that they definitely could be popular, but just geared towards a more adult audience. So this was certainly one of the first experiments. Obviously the highlight are the minifigures. Check out those exquisitely printed and dual molded legs, as well as all sorts of different expressions that really only appeared in this set. It's really cool just seeing all sorts of figure pieces I never would have gotten if I hadn't owned the set, and this also is jam-packed with all sorts of different printed details along the walls. Obviously, the build itself is definitely not the most refined. It is a very, very simple wall construction, and definitely nothing along the lines of the sitcom sets we get today, which typically are actually really well built. This one is definitely just one of the more simple builds because LEGO was still kind of figuring out what they were doing with LEGO Ideas, what they were doing with sitcom sets, but this definitely is one of the early stage builds that they did, and again, you can see that a lot of detail went into providing exclusive prints for the set, which are really interesting to see. Personally, I do not watch the show, so I do not know what many of these references are. The only ones I really get are the DC references like the Flash and Green Lantern, but it is still really nice to get all sorts of different exclusive prints to a model like this and complete my LEGO Ideas collection because now I am one step closer to having them all. I just need a few of the earliest ones and we will be all good. So definitely really nice to get this. Finally, it's been on my wish list for a while, and now we can move on to the next set. So this set right here is from LEGO Minecraft. This is the Iron Golem set. And this may actually appear deceptively simple, because there doesn't really seem to be all too much going on with this build. You've got your standard Alex minifigure, a pig, and a zombie, really just your standard Minecraft stuff. But this build is actually hiding a secret. Tipping over the build here, you can reveal the Iron Golem hiding underneath the platform, which is really cool. You can use the Iron Golem to now move off of his mount and smash away the zombies, so really cool to see something like that. And let me just take a look at how closely this action feature works for the figure. Obviously a lot of great printed detail on the Iron Golem itself, which has appeared in a few other sets, but this is kind of a focus set for the Iron Golem. The way it's supposed to work is that in-game for Minecraft, the moment you place the pumpkin head on top of the iron blocks there, you can actually bring it to life. So let's kind of practice doing that now. So for play experiences, you can put the pumpkin on and pop it open, and there you go, the Iron Golem is revealed. Let's try that one more time with a little bit more of a gentle movement here. So you can see again, taking the pumpkin off, putting it on the iron blocks, and voila, you can see the Iron Golem has been revealed. So a very fun play feature for a set like this. Obviously nothing really else going on with the set, but it's definitely something I wanted to pick up because I have actually mentioned in a few other videos I am on a quest to own every single LEGO Minecraft set. I really only recently started collecting, but I have been going back and buying up all the older sets, so this is just one more to add. But then moving on, we can take a look at one of the rarest LEGO architecture sets. This one actually cost me quite a few $100s because this is one of the rarest ones. It had a very, very limited shelf life, particularly in the US. This is the Sungnyemun architecture set. It is a temple or palace gate in Korea, which is really cool because I actually, as I mentioned, have been there personally before in person, so it's really cool to get the LEGO build for this. And this is definitely not one of the more refined architecture builds. There are some fun building techniques like the slightly slanted upper walls. I do like the attempt to add some texture with the dark gray mixed within, but this of course just goes together very simply, and it's also a pretty small build. The really big special thing about this is of course the printed tile, which is exclusive to the set obviously, as well as just the general construction of the build itself. I probably could have built this from bricks and pieces, but I did want the printed tile, so here we have the set. And then moving on, we have the LEGO International Space Station. This was from a very weird era of LEGO. They were partnering with National Geographic, and obviously you can probably tell that this is not the most stable of builds. This comes from an era of LEGO where they really were just kind of trying all sorts of different things, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. You can also immediately see here that most of the stickers on the set are across multiple pieces, which is a big no-no. It's technically considered illegal today, but you know, this was kind of the Wild West of LEGO back then, so they were just doing what they wanted. Obviously, the connection points on these, particularly because the pieces are old, have not really held up to time. These satellite pieces here really just do not stick on. It's kind of frustrating because obviously this is not the best building technique either. It doesn't really make sense to just have it be mounted on one clip each, but it's really, really hard to get these to stay up, especially if you want to put this on display. You kind of have to fiddle with it because these will just fall down unless you happen to get them at the right angle. Still, there is a bit of a vintage charm to this model that really this is nothing like you would see today. This definitely would not pass LEGO's very strict quality control guidelines today, but it kind of is a very interesting glimpse in the past to see what sorts of LEGO sets they were making back then. And just to note, you might see some miscolored bricks on the top satellite pieces here. Unfortunately, the set that I purchased from the store was missing a couple of pieces to complete it. They do actually have a store policy where if your set is missing pieces, you can go and kind of get the pieces the next time you go. I don't know the next time I'm going to be back in Washington. It's probably not going to be until like next March or something, so maybe I'll go get the pieces then, but it wasn't a huge deal, and thankfully they do have the policy where the next time you're in store, if your set was missing pieces, you can get them replaced. But then moving on, we can take a look at the final system build here. This is the LEGO Creator Expert Ferrari F40 car. I have also been trying to collect all of the Creator Expert cars that I missed, and this is just one of the few that I did not pick up when it first released, for whatever reason. You can open the front hood here to take a look underneath the hood, which is very nice to see some interior detail. A lot of these decals are stickers, but it is still nice to see the attention to detail here. I do like the shaping in particular of the doors and the seats inside. You can see a lot of detail was spent furnishing the interior, really making this out to be a fully detailed LEGO model, and this does use some of the best building techniques, especially for its time, to get the slanted angles of the particular Ferrari car. Moving on to the back here, the back red stripe across the black piece is printed, so that is a very special piece to include here, and you can actually lift the back to reveal the engine, which is also fully built up. Really cool to see the brick-built engine here, and you actually have a bit of a rod here that's just kind of sitting there that you can use to prop open the back trunk here, just in case you need to work on the engine or do some last-minute repairs. You actually have this fully set up to be able to be hinged on this one bar here, which also is just kind of a loose piece, but it definitely does work out well. Moving onwards to the side of the model, I again am very impressed with how well this came together, also introducing a very special hubcap piece, particularly for this car, and you can see the doors open and shut very nicely, although this definitely is not the best Creator Expert car. In recent years, the Creator Expert cars have really just outdone themselves in terms of being very intricate builds and very good looking builds. This is just another one that is a next step in the evolution of the Creator Expert style cars. And it also has little headlights that pop up as well, so these are kind of fun details. I certainly was not expecting these when I was doing the build itself, but it is cool to actually be able to pop them up, very similarly to some of the older play features in some of the older LEGO Technic cars. But with that, we have summed up all of these system builds, and it's time to move on to the Bionicle pieces.
Alright, so here we have the bulk Bionicle lot fully spread out, just washed, so there's a few water droplets, but for the most part you can see this is everything that fit inside the Ziploc, and there's a lot of really cool stuff to get into here. So immediately you may notice there is not one, but 2 of these silver-colored Pridak blades. These are some of the rarest Bionicle pieces, really expensive on Bricklink, around like $7, $8 a piece. So already the cost of all the parts here has been pretty much recouped by just these. Although, of course, I will be keeping these for myself. There's a lot of different builds I've been wanting to do with these particular blades that, unfortunately, they're really hard to come by in silver, so I just haven't gotten around to doing them. But really nice to be able to get these. Unfortunately, one of them is actually a little damaged. The tip is cut off, but it's not a huge deal. For the most part, it generally is just perfectly what you would expect to have. Moving onwards here, we have some of the other rarer pieces, particularly from Brutaka and Ernak. This is the Pearl Gold Technic hose, which is very nice to get, especially because I have been looking for another one at a fairly decent price. They're usually quite a few dollars on Bricklink to get, so this one definitely is really cool to get, as well as one of the other Pearl Gold armor pieces, actually 2 more of them, from the Brutaka model itself. So again, a rare color for this particular armor piece. And then moving on, we have just some other pieces, a lot of different heads and masks and whatnot, which I was pretty surprised to find just kind of sitting around loose. We have the head to the Spinax Hound, which was in the Maxilos and Spinax set, so cool to get another one of these, kind of a rare piece. We have one of the recolors of the Turaga masks, the Huna in light gray, which is definitely a really nice piece to get. It was only from the mask packs, so really nice to get that particular recolor. One of the Inika masks for Huki. We've got the, I believe, Motrek for Biddle, and then the head to Karpar right here, so nice to see that. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have the Pearl Gunmetal Gray Takadox head, which was exclusive to the Takanuva Titan figure. We've got the another Karpar head here, so just got 2 extras of those, just for whatever reason. And we even have some of the G2 stuff, like one of the Skull Spider masks right there, as well as the Mantax head. So a lot of just random Baraki pieces here. And of course, I saw Solek's mask, and I had to get the Solek mask as well. So there you have it. And there's still quite a few other things here, so let's take a look. I wanted to pick up a few of the printed G2 chest plate pieces, particularly from, this one is from Kulta, the Skull Grinder, and then this one's from Toakopaka. Just some rare pieces to get, particularly because the G2 stuff is kind of expensive nowadays to get just in bulk on the aftermarket. I also got an extra Haga shield. Probably will have to either spray paint this one or paint it for the Haga contest, which you'll wait and see for the results coming out either soon, depending on when this video comes out. It may have already been released, but I will be probably using this for the Toa Haga. One more mask I forgot to mention is just the standard Pakari Nuva here, just an extra mask that I found. Always will pick up a mask because they're always just useful pieces to have. Moving onwards, we have a ton of Borak shield pieces. These are the special Borak call pieces, so definitely wanted to get a few of these. There are quite a few different ones that I was able to pick up, just kind of scattered around here. I'm sure that more will pop up as we get to them, but I really do like the Korak call shield piece here. Just a really nice and satisfying piece to have. Moving onwards, there's just another Skull Spider mask. Always good to get extras of those. We even have something from the Chi Gorzan set. This was from the Legends of Chima Ultra Build figures, so cool to get the Pearl Gold large chest plate right there. And I also managed to get a ton of different Borak faceplate shields, particularly because I am trying to make sure all my combo models are 100% set accurate, so I did need to pick up a few of the different printed pieces on here. Don't really recall exactly which ones go to what, but we will figure out exactly which ones need to go to which combiner models, especially because for the combiners, there is a specific print that needs to go for each. Moving onwards, we have some of the Light Up Toa and Nika swords here. Always cool to get these as just pieces in general. Probably will need to swap out the batteries. I don't think they work right now, but it's nice to get those. And moving onwards, we have just some more pieces. This is exclusive to the Glatorian Malum, which is a nice piece, alongside his Fire Claws here. Always good to get extras of those very nice elemental pieces. And we also have a chest plate in the different blend for the Karapar piece. So it's the same piece, but it is in a different blend of plastic, as well as the Karapar armor here, which is just a very unique color to have as in Lego pieces. Moving onwards, we have some more Borak shields, one of the Chima Ultra Build chest plates right here. Even got some Robo Riders stuff right here, and just all sorts of just useful parts in general that I definitely plan to incorporate in different builds. We've got the Tattered Cloth Skull add-on piece for the G2 villains, as well as one of the swords used by the Skull villains. I actually really do like this piece. I really like the way the sword works. One of the silver Galak fin pieces, which is very useful. Need this for one of the Toa Haga. And we also have just different wing pieces from the 2008 Makuta, which are also a little bit hard to come by. All in all, there's just All sorts of different, very useful pieces here. Let's see if anything else in particular really stands out. Obviously, you've got the Vekama Hordika Fireblazer claws, but they also had, I believe it's somewhere around here. Oh, there we go. This is the black recolor of it, used only in the Bionicle 2005 system sets, so cool to get two different versions of the piece there. And we've got a Koli stick, Pohatu foot add-on. Let's see, some gunmetal gray Nuva chest plates. So always good to get more Nuva chest plates. Never know when you might need those, as well as the Metrutoran chest plates here. And let's see, what else do we have? A marbled chest plate for the Mantax character right here. Let's see, we've got the wings to Halimari, which is definitely something I want to use in a future build, as well as a Hero Factory Raja mask, which who knows when that will come in handy, but always good to get some more mask pieces. Also, here's the Toa Oniwa climbing hook thingies. I don't remember exactly what these are called, but it's just a fun piece to have in general, as well as one of the bones for the G2 Skull villains. So cool to get that. And then just some random Technic stuff like this actuator for a hydraulic system, which is a very unique piece, just something I wanted to pick up in case I wanted to make my own custom hydraulic stuff. Besides that, obviously there's still a lot more to see here, but I think I've covered some of the most rare pieces in this haul. Just really fun to be able to dig through the Bionicle parts bin and get some of these very special pieces that I probably would not have picked up otherwise. And with that, we have summed up the contents of this haul. So now let's zoom out and do our conclusion.
And so, with that, we have summed up this haul from Bricks and Minifigs, Monroe, Washington. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning into Duck Bricks, and stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. And do let me know in the comments, have you ever visited a Bricks and Minifigs location? Have you visited this particular one? And if so, what did you think of it? Thanks all again, and bye-bye for now.